WMC. Tonight at 6, worrisome for FedEx.
Fred Smith only speaks out on issues that he really thinks are important. So when he does speak out, people listen.
Why the CEO of FedEx is fighting for free trade and what it means for Memphis. Construction workers shot while on the job. The fight one witness saw before the shooting. Breaking news alert, the Memphis Police Director Mike Rallings is preparing to address the media at any moment this evening.
Well, Memphis police have not said specifically what Director Rallings will be discussing. This news conference comes just shy of 24 hours after a traffic stop where a Memphis police officer shot a man officers believed to be armed. WMC Action News 5's Janice Birch is at that news conference right now. We will bring it to you live as soon as it starts.
Now on to other news. Fred Smith, the CEO, the founder of FedEx, speaking out over a growing trade war between the United States and the People's Republic of China. The head of the Memphis-based FedEx made this comment stressing the importance of free trade Monday during an earnings call. Good evening, I'm Joe Birch.
And I'm Joyce Peterson in for Kanji Anthony tonight. WMC Action News 5's Kendall Downing is here with what Fred Smith has to say about steep new tariffs. Kendall.
Well, Joyce and Joe, Smith's comments came at the end of that nearly 40-minute call Monday. Executives with FedEx say they will be able to handle whatever the market brings.
Clearly, the U.S.-China trade dispute that took on even greater prominence today with the administration's announcement is worrisome to everyone.
That's Fred Smith Monday, the same day the Trump administration announced it would put tariffs on $200 billion worth of Chinese goods. The tariffs are in addition to $50 billion levied by the U.S. earlier this year. China Tuesday retaliated by announcing $60 billion worth of tariffs on U.S. goods, in addition to ones previously levied. Smith has remained a defender of free trade.
History is very, very clear that countries that pursue the most open markets are the ones that prosper the most and whose citizens' income increases the most.
Fred Smith only speaks out on issues that he really thinks are important. So when he does speak out, people listen.
Megan Nichols covers FedEx and is associate editor at the Memphis Business Journal. She says Smith's comments are no surprise.
Free trade, though, has been something that he has taken a very strong stance on since about 2016.
But what remains uncertain is the impact on FedEx. Executives in the call said they believe it would be minimal, but they do think some customers could make changes. If the trade war rages on, other firms in the region might see impacts on their bottom line and pass it on to you. The tariffs could impact things like food seasoning, machine parts, and network routers.
If tariffs continue to be a thing, I mean, you could see it for a lot of, I think, Mid-South companies.
Tonight, the Wall Street Journal reports that most retailers have already ordered their products from China for the holiday season, and they will likely be escaping those tariffs. But the same cannot be said for those items just a few months down the road in the spring. In the studio, I'm Kendall Downing tonight. Now back to you.
The Horn Lake Police Department has detained a juvenile who is associated with a social media threat this evening. This image was posted to Snapchat. Administrators were made aware of the post and contacted police. There was an increased police presence on campus today at Horn Lake. The juvenile is charged with obscene electronic communications and violation of probation through youth court.
Hot day in the Mid-South. Temperatures back in the 90s again. I want you to look at our first alert Doppler 5 radar very closely. Most of the area hot and dry, but we found a couple little showers. There's one right there around Gilmer. There was another one that was right there around Kaiser. That's diminishing, but the rest of the coverage area, just hot and dry. If you're getting out this evening, I want you to get ready for what's shaping up to be a muggy evening. 87 at 7, 82 at 9, and 80 at 11. Here are our weather headlines. We've got more heat coming your way, and it looks like rain chances for the week are slim, but our rain chances for the weekend, they're increasing. I'll tell you why and what that means for your weekend in the First Alert forecast just ahead.
All right, Ron, now to our breaking news alert. Our top story this evening, our Memphis Police Director Mike Rallings preparing to address the media upstairs at police headquarters. And this is all about the shooting of a young man named Martavius Banks, who was shot in South Memphis last night in his vehicle. And as we see now the top brass of the MPD walk in, let's listen to Mike Rallings as he makes his statement.
Yes. Yes. Well, thank you for coming. I wanted to update you on the officer-involved shooting. On September 17 at approximately 6:20 p.m., an officer assigned to the Airways station was in the area of Gill and Pillow when he ran the license plate of a 2002 maroon Malibu. The license plate yielded information that the insurance on the vehicle was unconfirmed. Officers conducted a traffic stop and approached the vehicle. An officer requested an ID and insurance information from the driver. The driver advised that he did not have either one. The driver then began reaching downward, at which time the officer advised that he saw a gun inside the vehicle. The officer told the driver to show him his hands, at which time the driver put the vehicle in drive and fled the scene. This initial encounter was captured on body-worn camera and in-car video systems. Officers pursued the suspect, at which time the suspect's vehicle was stopped in the 1200 block of Gill. At approximately 6:30 p.m., an officer advised MPD Communications that shots had been fired. The preliminary investigation revealed that after the suspect fled the vehicle at 1258 Gill, an officer was involved in a brief foot chase, which ended with the suspect being shot. Thorough reviewing of the body-worn camera footage, it was found that the shooting was not captured on the primary officer's body-worn camera due to the fact that his body-worn camera was not activated during the shooting. However, other officers who were on the scene did utilize their body-worn cameras. The primary officer who fired his weapon was relieved of duty pending the outcome of this investigation. After further review, it was also discovered that 2 additional officers who were involved in the original traffic stop at Gill and Pillow deactivated either their body-worn cameras or in-car video systems during the pursuit from Gill and Pillow. Those 2 officers have also been relieved of duty pending the outcome of this investigation. Body-worn cameras and in-car videos not only provide a clear image of what occurs during interactions with the public, they are in place to aid in transparency and accountability. Policies are in place which dictate when body-worn cameras and in-car video systems should be utilized. At this stage of the investigation, I am not confident that policy was followed. An internal affairs investigation is underway regarding the actions of these officers. Based upon these facts, and after conferring with the District Attorney General's office, we believe that the best course of action was to bring in the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations to conduct and conclude this investigation. While MPD is more than capable of conducting an impartial investigation, we recognize that the TBI brings an additional layer of transparency, accountability, and integrity to the outcome of this investigation. There are many questions that still need answers. The TBI will move forward with conducting their investigation of the shooting. We will move forward with our internal investigation relative to potential departmental violations of policy and procedures. Let me assure you that I will get answers, and we will hold officers accountable.
Director Rallings, you said that a PIO said that a gun was recovered on scene. Was it the suspect's gun? And to your knowledge, do you believe that it was fired by the suspect at any point towards one of those officers?
We cannot confirm that. This has been turned over to TBI, so I'd ask that you reach out to them to confirm that.
Did your officers give any reason why they would dismantle or shut down those body cameras or the cop car videos? Have they had prior dealings with Martavius Banks in the past?
Okay, on your first one, that is why we're conducting an internal affairs investigation to find out why. I have no knowledge that they have encountered the individual before.
What about those active warrants that were out there?
Did he just not turn his body camera on, or did he turn it off?
Okay, I'm not sure exactly what you're saying. But we're going to conduct a thorough investigation. When the investigation is finished, we'll come back and report what happened. But it's so early in this, it is too early to tell you exactly what happened.
Last night, did you guys contact TBI once the officer involved shooting had taken place?
That's a great question. And I think it's important that everyone knows. Every single time there's an officer involved shooting, I or a member of my staff would immediately contact the district attorney's office, and I always encourage and say we will give TBI a courtesy call just to let them know, because we know a condition can change within a moment's notice, so we always reach out. Let somebody else answer a question.
Protocol from the beginning for them to even pursue a chase with this driver when it seems as though there wasn't a violent felony that he was wanted for? Or is that protocol for them to go after him?
Again, that's why we're doing the internal investigation to find out exactly what happened.
Officers on scene when there is a safety issue to either the officers or the public. Apparently, according to that officer, he saw a gun. The suspect then fled the scene. In your law enforcement experience, should an officer pursue that individual?
Well, officers are out there making decisions every day to protect the public, so I'm not going to speculate what the officers were thinking. That's why we do an internal investigation to find out what they thought.
Okay, one more question, last question.
We've heard from people that, especially witnesses and family members, that Mr. Banks was headed to a house and running and hiding into a house and was shot several times. Once in the back, even made it inside when an officer kept firing, didn't announce their presence as being officers when other people were there. Can you speak to this at all, what you've heard, how many shots were fired, how that possibly violated policy?
Yeah, so again, TBI will conduct the investigation on the officer-involved shooting. We'll focus on policy violations. Again, it's early on. I don't want to speculate. I just want the public to know that we're going to get to the bottom of this. I want to know the truth. I want to know the facts. We will hold officers accountable if policy violations occurred. We will work with TBI to make sure we present any evidence that's necessary for them to conduct their investigation. We'll continue to support this. We want to remind our citizens that it is our responsibility to make sure that officers are out there doing their job, they're following policy, and let us assure you we will get to the bottom of this.
To recap, 3 in total that were on
If you don't have any additional questions, y'all can send them to us. And if we can answer them, we will.
All right, that was our police director, Mike Rallings, saying tonight that a total of 3 Memphis police officers have been suspended pending the outcome of this investigation. One, the principal officer, a 26-year-old African-American officer, according to police, who fired the shot that wounded Martavius Banks, the 23-year-old who had been pulled over on traffic charges and then fled that scene. He had been pulled over for lack of insurance, and then ultimately they have discovered there was a total of 6 warrants pending on this young man. And there are 2 other officers who have been suspended now as they have deactivated their body-worn and in-dash patrol car cameras as the pursuit of this young man was going on.
So that's 3 officers. The officer involved in the shooting was chasing after Banks when the shooting occurred. His body camera was either not activated or turned off. And then the director is saying the other 2 officers who were also on scene but not directly involved in the shooting either did not activate or turned their body cam and dash cams off, which is against policy if that is the case. The director saying he does not think policy was followed, and he is urging citizens to trust that this investigation will come to the right conclusion. The TBI now in charge. The director saying that if those officers did not follow policy, the right thing will be done in this case.
We will have more on this story as developments continue to unfold this evening. And for our broadcast right now, we'll be back after a quick commercial message.
Have you ever been frustrated with the process of buying a car or truck? Some auto dealerships have a stereotype of being deceptive, hard to deal with, or just plain aggressive. At Sarah Bartlett, we're changing the culture one day at a time with each customer that walks in our door. And if we make a mistake, we'll make it right. We're in the business of making your car buying experience exceptional. I'm Paul Householder, and it's just better in Bartlett. Find new roads online 24/7 at sarahbartlett.com.
This is me. And this is the day cancer changed all my plans. These are the times I felt weakest.